putting out there the people that don't know.
Mm-hmm. I just grabbed like a handful sometime and yes.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah, honestly.
Morning, Mina.
Good morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go up in Hawaii. Good.
Morning, Andrew. How are you? Everybody grab a kolache, courtesy of Jeremy and Mary Elizabeth with Elite Title. We're going to go ahead and get started at this point and let Jeremy have a couple of minutes of your time and present something that's pretty unique to Title. I want you to. I looked through their presentation last night, and it's unique. So this is their website. It's let me see where it is actually. Closeelite.com. But I'm going to present his presentation now, and let me present this. And we are ready to go, Mr. Jeremy.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. You guys might recognize the 6th Ave logo at the bottom of the website. If y'all, those folders, someone pass, grab those across. Just make sure everybody has one. That would be great. So, thank you. Yeah, I'm Jeremy Dean. This is Mary Elizabeth Collier, Elite Title. So I'm not going to go through the folder. I just want to explain to you what's in it, and then we'll get to the presentation. So in there's a 2-pager on one side that talks about our software, and then there's a trifold brochure. So the trifold brochure is really a lot of the stuff that you see on our website. It's just a lot of the about us kind of stuff. And so we'll touch a little bit on that today. And then there's a QR code on the back of the trifold as well that takes you to the website. So when you have some spare time, check that out. The 2-pager, that is some kind of highlights and some bells and whistles of the software we use. Okay, it's called Qualia. So I'll be honest, that is not something that really separates us from a lot of other title companies because a lot of title companies use Qualia. Okay, there's really 3 main softwares out there for title. Qualia is one of them. It's probably the most technologically advanced. So title companies that you guys work with may or may not use it. So it doesn't necessarily give us any kind of super cool competitive edge because we use Qualia, right? Where it does give us a competitive edge is the agents that use title companies that use Qualia either don't implement it to its fullest extent or they don't teach their agents how to use it, right? I was just talking to an agent the other day that I've known for many years, and I looked him up and I said, hey, you've had a login to Qualia for like 2 years, and how do you like it? He goes, oh, I've never used it. I was like, why not? He's like, because my title company never showed me how. So it's one of those things that it's there. That's not the purpose of today, right? That is really more the purpose of after today. If you guys are like, hey, these people sound really cool, we'd really love to do business together, that is something where we probably have maybe a one-on-one, or you come to our office, or we come back here or whatever, walk you through how to use it, because it really, really can make a huge difference in what you guys do as agents. But we're not going to spend time on that, but I wanted you to see it. So that is what's in there. Our business cards are in there as well. And then we'll hop into this little presentation. It is not a PowerPoint. So our strategy is fully digital. Okay, so there are very, very, very few real estate transactions that are closed fully digital. A lot of title companies and a lot of lenders will tell you that, oh, we'll do a hybrid, right? Or we can do the cash deals fully digital, or we can do the seller side docs fully digital. Sorry, I'm
No, you're good.
Where most people get hung up on fully digital is the notarized documents, whether it's cash deal or not, but more specifically the buyer's lender's docs. That's where a lot of people get hung up, right? If the lender is not set up to do fully digital, then it doesn't matter if the title company wants to do fully digital or not. The lender's docs aren't digital, or the lender says we can't support it, then it can't be done. So for us, we're really, really pushing that narrative because this is the direction the industry is going, whether we all like it or not. It's going this way. And so getting on the forefront of this is hugely important, so that 2, 3, 4 years from now, when it becomes a little more mainstream, you know, we want us, and more specifically the agents and the lender we work with, to be the people that, hey, we've been doing this already for a few years, not, oh, we really should figure this out, right? Once all your competitors are doing that. So the other cool thing about digital, obviously it's no paper. Everybody wants to pay extra for comfort and convenience, right? Think of DoorDash and all these things because everybody's time is valuable. That is really one of the biggest advantages to this, and that we don't charge extra for this, right? So if you think dollars and cents, title companies now, they'll say, hey, we'll send you a mobile notary, right? A lot of title companies are sending mobile notaries that borrow to pick up work and drop across town and all that. Hey, we'll just be super convenient. We'll send you a mobile notary. Some are charging for that, 100, 125 bucks, you know, whatever that is. Some title companies are absorbing that and they just absorb it into their escrow fee and they call that an extra customer service fee. That's fine. But the thing about them, like, they still have to sign papers, right? They're still signing physical papers and they're still taking time out of their day. And it's costing extra. This doesn't cost the buyer or the seller extra at all. It costs us money. We actually make less money if we do fully digital, which sounds crazy, but there's a whole separate software platform that we have to do that has to be approved with Fannie and Freddie so the lender can sell it. And we pay for all that. And we don't charge the buyer or the seller or the lender or anybody else. So if the borrower calls us and says, I would prefer to do a fully digital closing, we will make less money than if they did a printed closing. But it's more convenient for them. It's more convenient for y'all. And that's what matters to us. So
Next.
yep, next. So really kind of three things at our core. Convenience. So I just talked about convenience, right? We all pay extra for convenience. The really great thing about the convenience aspect with a digital closing is the electronic notary laws are different in a lot of states. This is why it really hasn't taken off universally across the country yet, is because there's 46 or 47 states, I think, that allow this. And in Texas, the law says that as long as the notary is physically present in the state of Texas, the buyer or the seller can be anywhere in the world. As long as they have a good internet connection, that's the key, right? They can be anywhere. So you got your buyers that are out of town. We got a deal closing tomorrow, and they call and they're like, hey, our buyer is going to be at a car auction in another state. No problem. As long as they have a good internet connection and hopefully a compatible device, right? Not a 1995 laptop. But and then efficiency. That's a huge one for us. That is our middle name. We're all about efficiency because of the whole time is money thing. Paperless closing, average 15 minutes versus 60. So do the math. And then comfortability. So for the clients, you know, some clients, buyers and sellers, especially if they're older, they might think, hey, I don't want to do this. I'd rather have somebody explain this to me, right? I don't want to get in and create a login and I don't want to do all that. And that's fine. They can come to our office. No problem. Just like you guys are sitting here right now. But instead of, if they come to our office and we don't have them create a login and all that, we're just going to hand them an iPad instead of handing them a stack of papers. And we can also do that in person. We are happy to go to them. Hi. We're happy to go to them just like a mobile notary would and meet them at their house or their office or whatever. But the difference is we're just going to have an iPad as opposed to the stack of papers. So this is a huge competitive advantage for the client and being able to explain things and walk them through things. So tips for you guys. Setting the expectations. So for y'all, one of the common things that we hear a lot is, well, we'll just throw this out there and address the elephant in the room. If y'all are good agents, which you all are, because you work here, you've got relationships with title companies already. We all know that. Wouldn't expect you to not. So if you do primarily listings, then you think, well, you know, I've got my people. Like my people are good. I like my people. They take good care of my clients. That's great. Or if you're primarily a buyer's agent and you think, hey, this doesn't really apply to me nearly as much, right? I'm going to have way less say so over who the title company is. Those are both, we sort of interject on both of those because number one, from a listing agent perspective, you care about your client, right? You want your seller to have a great experience. This is way easier on the seller than it is anybody else because typically they're going to have a much smaller a much smaller packet of stuff to sign, usually maybe one or two things in there that are notarized. Versus the buyer, especially if the buyer gets a loan, right? So for us, the seller stocks, being able to sign electronically, especially the notary one, which is usually the warranty deed, maybe one or two others, super easy and it's super convenient and it's no problem. So that's how we help you take care of your client. And then on the buyer's side, if you think, well, I'm a buyer's agent, or I primarily represent buyers. The really great thing about this that we encourage a lot of our agents to do is put a lead title in the contract when you make the offer. Right now, the seller might say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to use, I've never heard of a lead title. We're going to use who we want to use. Well, that's great. But as a buyer's agent, it's real easy to say, hey, I'm submitting this with a lead title on the offer. Maybe you don't know who they are. You know, maybe you just say, I've already got a relationship. I want to use my person or whatever. And that's fine. But in this instance, maybe we can consider doing a fully electronic closing. And you tell that listing agent, your seller can sign completely digitally. And it's awesome. And that'll save them a lot of time, save them a lot of headaches, save them a lot of, oh, really? I didn't even know we could do that. So letting them know that it's an option, because one of the things that we heard when we were launching this company is there's not a huge demand for this. I talked to other title companies. Oh, there's not a huge demand. There's not a huge demand. Well, there wasn't a huge demand for the iPhone in 2006 either, right? This is kind of the same thing. It's not new. This technology has been around for 20 years. It's just not mainstream because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of setup and it's a lot of prep, primarily on the lender side, not really so much on the title company side, but on the lender side. And that's where we come in, and we'll talk about that in a second. There you go. Literally in 1 second. So a fully digital closing on the buyer side, this is not applicable to the seller, okay? But on the buyer side, it will not happen unless your lender is set up for a fully digital closing, meaning their docs, their note has to be an e-note, and there's a whole bunch of steps that they have to take. So a vast majority of the lenders out there that are not doing this have all their own reasons, right? And we've talked about this for many, many years as to why. And it's, maybe it's an internal process for them. They don't want to change their internal processes. They don't want to bring on new vendors. They don't want to spend more money, whatever. There's a million different reasons. But the reality is, this is one of the ways that we have a huge competitive advantage over other title companies, because our brainchild in launching this title company was to go to lenders and say, let me show you how to get set up for a new close. There's a lot of stuff they have to do on their side. And for some lenders, if they haven't even thought about it or taken these steps, it might take months. So where we want to help you guys and partner with you guys, again, if you're a buyer's agent, especially if you're a buyer's agent, but for all of you, is if y'all say, hey, I've got some lending partners that I like, right? I've got some loan officers that I prefer or that I would refer to as a buyer's agent or whatever. We would love to talk to them, to your lending partners, and say, let me show you how this works. Because again, it's a complicated process, and it takes a lot of steps, but we walk them through that. Or we can refer you to lending partners that we have that are already fully set up and ready to go on new close. Okay, so if you're a listing agent and you get an offer and the buyer has a pre-approval letter from ABC Bank, right, and they're going to use that lender, it doesn't matter. I mean, I can't do an e-close if ABC Bank is not set up to me. I can still e-close your seller, right, if you're the listing agent. But I can't do an e-close on the buyer's lending docs, which is really like the bulk of them, unless that lender is set up. Okay, so as a buyer's agent, really important to work with lenders that are ready for this, and most lenders aren't. I don't know if it's on the trifold, but on our website, 95% of real estate transactions in this country are not fully paper. I mean, not fully digital. 5% are fully digital across the country. This is an exceptionally low number. And the biggest reason for that is because of the lenders. Lenders haven't taken the steps. And the reason why we are well equipped to help them do that, as opposed to most title companies, is because I was a lender for 22 years. That's my background. And so for us to be able to go up to a mortgage company or a bank and say, hey, we're bringing experience to the table, we can show you how to do this, is a lot different than, a lot of title companies are owned by attorneys or, whatever. And for them to go to a lender and say, hey, we can show you how to do this, they're not going to listen to their attorney. What do you know about my business, right? But we know a lot about their business because that's what I've done my whole career. So, all right, go ahead. And then embrace change. Don't be Blockbuster, be Netflix. So we all know that story, right? So the reason I say that one is because the mantra, the stigma behind this lack of embracing change is this, if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality, right? And that mentality is just not good for business at all. If you're not constantly growing, changing, evolving, like, you're going to get left behind. So with paper, this is true of title companies and lenders, but with paper, this works. Why turn over the apple cart? Why go through all these extra steps? Why do all these things to change this when we know it works, right? It's not inconvenient. They think it's not inconvenient for the borrower. Again, pre-iPhone, because you don't know what you don't know. And so the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality is just not going to survive long term, right? So then for us, we want you guys to be the hero. So realistically, a month or 2 months or 3 months after closing, whether you represented the buyer or the seller, doesn't matter. But after closing, you get down the road and your client sitting around the dinner table with their friends and they are talking about their transaction. I think the chances of them if they had a good positive experience, right, which we all did, I think the chances of them remembering you guys first is pretty high, in my opinion. Or if they have a friend that says, hey, I'm interested in buying a house, or hey, I want to sell my house. Between y'all, the lender, and us, my gut feeling, just based on being in this business for a long time, is the first person that your client would tell their friend to call is probably y'all. If hey, I don't even know where to start. I want to start looking at houses, or I'm considering selling my house. Who should I talk to? Hey, call my agent, right? It's definitely not going to be us. If it's not y'all, it's probably the lender, but it's definitely not going to be us. And that's okay. That's okay. We definitely want them to remember us. Like, oh, we closed it in Elite Title. But I've talked to friends of mine, clients of mine that have done, closed on 3, 4, 5 houses, and I've asked them, you know what the title company is? Yeah, that's the place where I signed the papers, right? Yeah, this is the place where you signed the papers. Do you know what a title insurance policy is? No. Have you bought one? I don't know. Did I? Yeah, like it's probably one of the most expensive things on your, on your clothes, on your CD. Yeah, what does it do? I have no idea. And so there's that, right? So there's an element of educating the buyer, and that's all good and dandy. But the reality is we want you guys to get those repeat clients, and we want you guys to have your clients tell their friends to call you. Because in turn, if in y'all's mind that draws a connection to us, then it's, oh, that client's super happy, and we close that deal with title. So it all comes full circle for us, right? But we want them, that's how we want that to go down. So last thoughts for us. We're small, we're boutique, we're white glove, we're concierge. Those are the buzzwords that we like to use. We have no desire to be big. I do not want 100 locations. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing. Your lender, your buyer's lender, they're going to get a title commitment, right? You guys have all seen them. The lender's going to order the title work. A couple days later, they send it in. They get a title commitment. It all looks the same. You have no idea what title company it came from. They all look the same because they're all unpromulgated forms, right? And then after the closing, they're going to issue the title policy. Texas we have a very, very interesting mix in this particular part of the industry because we are on the title side, we're one of the only industries in existence where we all sell the exact same product for the exact same price. And that's really, really difficult for us, right? And so from a title company's perspective, all we have to compete on is our business model and our service, right? So you guys, title companies will, get in front of you all the time and they'll say the same thing. Oh, we're different, we're unique, and we'll offer you great service, and we'll do, a CE class, and we'll bring in lunch, and and we'll do a happy hour. They all do the same thing. We all do the same thing, and that's fine. Like those are not bad things. I'm not throwing other title companies under the bus by any means, because I did that as a lender for many years. I sponsored those classes, I went to those things, and it's ways to get in front of you guys. But at the end of the day, your perspective is, how are you helping me, right? How are you going to help me grow my business, and how are you going to help me take good care of my client? And so for us, offering a CE, you guys can get CE credits anywhere, right? You can do them online. There's a gazillion areas and ways that y'all can do a CE credit. That's not a competitive advantage for us to say, hey, I'll bring in lunch and we'll do a CE credit. Great. But for you to be able to offer your client something different, if you say, hey, I've got 3 title companies that I love working with, okay? Here they are. One of the 3 has something really significantly different than the other ones don't, and that's the ability to do a fully digital closing. That matters to your client, whether it's a buyer or a seller. And that's what we want, right? We want you guys. So that's our competitive advantage, is we want to be able to offer something different. But because of that, we want to stay small. I want to stay small because we are family oriented. We are a family first title company. My wife and I own the company. We don't have partners. We don't have investors. Like, we're not a subsidiary of a much larger conglomerate. Like, none of that. Amber and I own the title company. Mary Elizabeth is our absolute rock star closer. She's going to take great care of all your clients and close all of our deals. And it is that way on purpose, because that's the way we can offer really, truly white glove type of service. And we are not, if we, our kind of 5-year plan is like probably somewhere in the area of a few locations around DFW. Like, that's the extent of how big we want to be. And we don't want to get bigger than that, because once you get bigger than that, then we lose that personal touch. We are 100% built on relationships. So I don't want you to hear me up here saying that we're built on tech because we like the idea of digital closings. That's not really it. That's the benefit, right? Like, that's the end result that your clients get. But that's not really why we want to work with you. We want to work with you because this is all about relationships. So I've been in real estate for almost 23 years. My wife has been in real estate for over 20 years. And Mary Elizabeth has been a closer for a while. So between the 3 of us, I think we have over 50 years in the business. So we've been doing this for a long time. My wife and I own a title company, we own a mortgage company, we own an appraisal company. So we have this sort of little conglomerate of real estate companies. And yeah, this is our website. And that's why we want to stay small, and that's why we want to offer that level of service. So with all of that, I know I rattled on a lot, but check out the site, take the folder. We would love to have a one-on-one with you guys. Go grab coffee, go grab lunch, come by our office, whatever. And like I said, if you do want to work with us, I'd love to show you kind of how the software works. You can upload a contract to us right from your phone. There's just, there's a million things, but you got to use it. And then the lenders, your lenders, getting them introduced or letting us refer you to our lenders that can do e-close. Because what we don't want, there's a little asterisk on here, somewhere on there where it says, your buyers can close anywhere from any device, anywhere in the world. And then we got to put a little asterisk and says it's not available on all transactions because it's not. You
There's
know?
the asterisk.
There it is. Yeah. We had to put that legal disclaimer in there. It's not available for everybody, right? Like the lender's got to be on board, but that's why those partnerships are super important. So
Do you have a list of lenders that can do this?
yeah, but it's in here. Like we don't broadcast it to the world because to be honest, those relationships, like that's our secret sauce. Like those relationships come from my 20 years of experience in lending. And so if any of y'all called me and said, hey, I called my loan officer that I like and they can't do any full e-close. Verbiage, right? Verbiage matters because if you call your loan officer and they can do the e-close, they'll say yes, but what they can really do is a hybrid, right? The hybrid, everybody's doing hybrid. Okay, you can e-sign all the docs that are not notarized. Great. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a full e-close, like Ron with a digital notary, it's FaceTime. Which on that note, the other thing that really, really is important for us is even if a title company and a lender does offer a full e-close, one other aspect for us that's really, we think important with this white glove service is when you do a RON, which is a remote online notary, when you do a session with the buyer or the seller and a notary pops up, it will be one of us. It will be me, Mary Elizabeth, or my wife. It will not be a notary from notarycam.com or notarize.com, which is what everybody else uses. So we want to mimic and replicate the experience that they get if they come into the office and they sign with their escrow officer, right? If you guys send them to any other title company in town and they go into the office, they're going to sign with their escrow officer, right? Maybe a mobile notary, you send them a mobile notary. We won't even do that. Like if it's a paper closing and the buyer's somewhere else and we need to go meet them in person, it'll still be one of us. And it's the same thing with online. With online closings, everybody uses NotaryCam or notarize.com or whatever because the notary is available in 5 minutes. But then it's like, it's Bill from Georgia, and he doesn't know anything about your transaction. It's not personal at all. He can't answer questions. He can't do anything. He just says, buyer, click here, and he puts his stamp on it, and it's over. It's way less personal. And so for us, that was another thing that cost us a bunch of extra money to get certified, and we had to go through all these trainings and do all this stuff. But that is important for us because we want to be the notary closing your client's deal, whether it's in person or electronically. So, any other questions? And we'll get out of your hair.
The only thing that I'm thinking the whole time you're presenting this is, as a real estate agent, that closing table is our last hurrah with our client before they, are not in our lives every single day. And so it's gift time, it's celebrate time. And I feel like with a full digital, we're going to come to your house to push that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking myself out of the equation. How have you had agents creatively work around that to be present?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we highly encourage the agents to be a part of the closing, whether it's in person or digital. So if it's digital, we send you an invitation link to join the session. So you're still there. Your face is there, you're on camera, the whole 9 yards. Obviously, if it's in person,
then too, you can meet them.
Yeah.
You got them here. You can go to their house.
yeah.
In their house where they're
You can also be physically present where they are if they're in town, right? If they're out of town, how many times we had a closing that's on Friday afternoon and then the lender didn't get the CD out 3 days early and we got to push it. The buyer's like, oh, wow, we're going on vacation Saturday morning. You know what I mean? Like all of that's avoided. We don't have to worry about getting the POA anymore, overnighting their documents. Like we don't do any of that. So if they're in town, to your point, like happily have them come here or go meet them if you want to be physically present with them. If that's not available, join the session. And so you're still there. The only flip side of that would be exchange if you want to give them a gift, right? And
I would say if
physically
you're
in
doing
front of
that,
them.
like that with me, I would just be like, hey, let's go to dinner, or
After closing.
dinner,
I was about to say, that's something I've really started practicing, and it sounds kind of silly, but like the closing table, I've stopped like taking a closing gift to like closing and like following up 2 or 3 weeks or a month later because people are so busy in the moment, like utilities and moving and closing and signing and doing and stress. And if I follow up, 2 to 3 or 4 weeks later with breakfast on Saturday morning or stop by with a gift, it like makes a bigger impression than in that stressful scrambling time. And so I think that would be one way. And then I really like the digital close, the full digital close on a buyer's aspect, because I feel like a lot of my clients, like I know I'm working with clients from like Salt Lake City right now and a couple other places, and they will not be here to close. They won't, because they will do that simultaneously.
Sure.
And I mean, it's just customary, and we've always done it where I hand it off, title company hands it off to a mobile notary somewhere else. We pray that it's done, everything gets back,
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
everything in time, funded or whatever. for me to have a title company on the other side that says, hey, good morning, like, I know Tasha really well, blah, blah, blah. I feel like that could be a huge asset to out-of-state buyers and that
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
Like they just feel uncomfortable. It feels like
I would also, so just quick context here, just
Yeah.
Jamey's endorsement. He was my lender for a long time.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite lenders has closed my own personal houses. Jeremy's one of the most like detailed, systematic people I know. And a while ago, he came to me and said, hey man, I need some marketing help. In my mind, I'm like, oh, help him with this mortgage business. And he's like, I'm starting a title company. And I was like, what? why are you doing that? We have lots of title companies. We don't need title companies, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm so frustrated with the title process as a lender. We print out all these docs and I send it, and like 25% of the time they miss a page or someone gets an initial, and then I gotta send it back. And then he was like, I want to do digital closings. Did you know you can do this? No one knows you can do this. And I was like, you can't do that. Like, you can do this. And so, you know, part of his, if you have a lender that you want them to, he speaks the lender language. And so he can show you, let me get you set up. And so I know for me, like, I can come in, Jimmy and I bought a house, sold a house, and just the paper's missing, or I forget to initial something, blah, blah, blah. And I refuse to go to title companies now. I haven't in like 3 years and make them come here, but I pay $300 or $400 for that.
Yes.
And so the beauty of this is you can make them come here. You can say, hey, we're going to go to, you know, Woodshed or Lonesome Dove, or we're going to go to a restaurant. We're going to close there because it's on an iPad.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, that's my.
I love that, and I also
Appreciate that, Jamey.
love the fact that you all are the ones as the notary. I just closed Wild Ivy, and they did the Ron system, and it was a mess.
Yep.
I'm gonna just be straight up.
Sure.
They were very frustrated with timeline, and the notary was subpar. And so, you know, that was my pushback. I'm like, it's a crapshoot. You don't know who you're going to get. Are they going to explain it well? Are my clients going to have questions?
Right.
Do they feel comfortable? So that was kind of really honestly where I was coming from, more so than giving them a gift
Sure.
or anything. It's like,
Yeah.
what is their actual closing experience
Yeah.
like? And am I there to kind of bridge the gap
Yeah.
if there is one?
Absolutely.
And so with that, I think you definitely answered both sides
Yeah.
of both of those questions. You're doing it. And so I don't have to worry about service, but also love the ideas also of finding a cool restaurant. I did that
Absolutely.
with one of my last closings too. We went to dinner and did all of that.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think it's great. It sounds really.
Just to interject, the
Interject.
closing table is my favorite part of the whole experience. Like, that's why I do this. So it's important for me to have that last step with y'all's clients because I'm comfortable with the documents. Like, I love getting to visit with people while they're going through this process. So I didn't want to lose that step either. So it's really important that I get to do the
We live in a very transient DFW. I mean, my clients that used Ron were moving from Mansfield to Plano. You know, it wasn't like they were kind of from Alabama
Right.
or New York. It was
But that's
right here.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. And
Sure.
so I think you're onto something here. I just want to make sure that it's.
No, I get it.
that
personal,
Listen, like that's the whole. I mean, we spent a year launching this title company with those same hesitancies, right? Like, what are the drawbacks? What are the hurdles? What are the problems we're going to encounter? And then, again, the biggest hurdle is getting lenders on board. So if you have a favorite lender and you say, hey, call this guy, he can walk you through. It depends on who they are. If they're a huge nationwide company, they're not. They've got an exec team that's in another state somewhere. Like, we'll probably have very little influence over that, right? Smaller companies, smaller banks, they might be more willing to listen, but it's also not a quick process. So it will probably take a lender several months to get fully set up and ready to roll with this. With us holding their hand. If they try to do it on their own, it's going to take like a year. If we hold their hand, we can get it done faster. Or again, we can refer you people. So, but you're exactly like all of those hesitancies are completely normal. I'm sure everybody felt the same way about the iPhone when it came out, and that's how Blockbuster felt about Netflix, right? And I mean, seriously, like, but Blockbuster laughed Netflix out of the boardroom. They had the opportunity to buy Netflix for like $1 million, and they were like, "This business model is dumb. This will never work. Our business model is strong. It's solid. People come into our stores and they rent our VHS deck, and it's never going to change." And look where they are, you know. And so, so yeah, totally normal to be hesitant and feel like, God, this is a big change. Like, this is not a small change. This is a big change. I just want to make sure my clients have, and I can't promise you that every deal is going to go perfect, especially when you're dealing with technology. You know, it might freeze, it might buffer. I don't know. It depends on, you know, what if the Wi-Fi goes out? Who knows? That's out of our control. But what is in our control is to provide the opportunity to make that happen. And then, like you said, for you guys to look great. So
Jeremy,
I
thank
know
you
we've
so
been here
much.
for a while.
Thank you so much
Yes,
for your
thank you
time.
guys
Thank you for breakfast.
Letting us come. You're
Good
so
information.
welcome. I'm gonna take these. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jeremy. It was good to see you.
It's good to see you.
It's nice to meet you finally.
Nice to meet you finally. You guys give us a call if you have to work with you.
Thank you so much.
Anyone one of these?
I ate one on. Whoa, what is it?
It's like a kolache.
Pearls now.
Oh, yes. Mexico.
Y'all want some back there?
And Mexico. I would say Mexico.
No, I'm putting them in the back of the bar.
Oh, I don't want. I'm not gonna get what I
No,
want.
Maybe in Mexico. I have.
I'm sending them back here.
Okay, so while, here, Jamie, while you're standing there, I'll hand these back to you.
No, you're
You want another one? Grab one.
Take one down.
All right, so,
What you're eating is really good.
Oh, I know.
so we've got a couple announcements I need to hit real quick. We talked about the IABS on your social media and on your Facebook last week
And on the email above the signature.
above the signature. So if you have questions about that, holler at me individually and I'll help you get that set up. 100 Days of Greatness is coming in February. I've got 3 people signed up. I'd like to have 2 more. I'd like to have a group of 5. So if anybody else wants to join, I don't even care if it's an agent from outside our office. They can still join the 100 Days of Greatness and be a part of our class. So I wanted to let you know that. You will see this entire year on the calendar, I'm going to put optional CE classes and things that title companies are offering. You do not have to respond. Just let you know. I just put it on there and make it optional for every single person so that you know that it's there if you want to take that opportunity. You don't have to accept or decline the event. Just whatever you're comfortable with, just so you know that it's there. I'm thinking about doing name badges again soon. If you don't have a name badge, would like one, they're about $20, 15 to $20, depending on how many you order. I'm also going to do a sign order. So if you would like to have some of the new pretty blue and pink,
What does this look like?
I'll show you after the meeting. Where we can do those. If we order 10, they're 150 a piece. If I order 1, they're 225 each. So it's considerably less if we get 10 signs. If you want a couple of signs for yourself, that includes the frame, the rider, and the panel.
Is that big, heavy rectangle frame?
No, not those.
Oh, good.
They're
Okay. I
standard,
realize I have
2 foot
one
wide,
right
3 foot tall, 30 inches
You
tall.
need, to be old woman proof.
I understand. We are still looking for agents that fit our culture and our way of doing things here. So if you know somebody, please let me or Jimmy know. Yesterday, I went to the Old Republic economic forecast, and Dr. Mark Gautzer, who used to be the head of Texas A&M's real estate school thing, gave me something new that I hadn't thought about. We've been talking about interest rates and framing them a certain way with, hey, interest rates may come down later this year. We talked about that. His suggestion, which I thought was brilliant, was that we need to start framing that conversation. 6%, 5 to 6% is normal. If you go back and you look at how interest rates have gone through the years, 5 to 6%, even high 6s is completely normal. The 2s and the 3s and the 4s were an anomaly that were artificially put there by the United States government during the pandemic.
And not to mention those low interest rates are unhealthy for the economy.
Absolutely. They've created a mess that we're in.
That's
So
what I
we need to be reframing that conversation that 5s and 6s are completely normal and that's what they should expect to pay no matter what. Okay, so core value, and this leads right into Jamey. So we are passionate about daily growing stronger, smarter, and more selfless. We want to see our team members flourish personally and grow constantly. We encourage and challenge each other to grow strong physically, mentally, professionally, and emotionally as leaders to pursue selflessness. Our intent is that this growth does not terminate on ourselves, but is used to give back and serve our community and those with whom we interact. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Jamey Yates.
Hey, Fran, I do have one quick question. Did you say there's a discount for 100 Days of Greatness right now?
It's $395 is the price right now.
Okay.
It's really not a discount. It's just $395
Okay.
plus shipping. and handling.
Because I would say that might be like, catching on social media, that might be hey, let me take advantage of that.
Yep. Everybody that's online, in the comments, I just put what Jamie's about to show you in the comments. So if you need to drop over there and open this on your machine, it's in that little thing down there in the little comment box.
Is anybody doing these?
No.
I put 10 of them right there.
Where's the rest of them? Oh, they're over there. Here, take these down, pass them around. Okay, team remote. I did not think about this until now. If you're the Bell County folks, we can mail you.
I already
these.
I've already got 3 in my bag. I'm on the mail to them.
Oh, you did perfect. Okay, cool. We sent the link to this is right there, but it's more fun to print this off and write in and work in it. You can put it on your own paper if you want to. Yes, my screen.
Oh, I've done this training before. I love this.
You have not done this training.
Not for, I'm sure this is better.
I
But when they
made
dig
this.
deep and make you go, why is that for? Why is that for?
Yeah, yeah. So you guys have done similar to this.
Version, but
So
it's not digging deep.
high level on this. I love goal setting and vision stuff, self-help land. And I read like tons of those books. And the reason I read tons of those books is because several years ago, I just found myself in a massive rut. This was like early days of 6th Ave. I was just at the mercy of life. And which still happens. It's still like I'm in a season right now. Like holidays are bonkers. But I just found myself like just like I've been coasting for 2 years. I'm not who I want to be. I don't feel like I want to feel. I'm not happy. And so I really took this dive into I want to make a change. I'm not living the life I want to live. And I think often we find ourselves there, like we're just in a river and the river is taking us and we're not steering anywhere. So anyway, since then I've been on this journey of like books, audiobooks, podcasts. And so this here is kind of the culmination of like 6 years of things of me diving into practices and habits and all sorts of stuff and kind of pulling some of my favorite books and trainings and things into one thing. So this is like several years of making. I was really excited about this. The other piece to that is I love New Year's Eve because New Year's Eve is always like there's a new thing coming. I'm an Enneagram 7 is a lot of new things. And so, however, it also feels like a whirlwind. And so I am generally doing my New Year's goals. I don't know if you do New Year's goals like in February. So here we are. It's like we're 3 weeks into January, and I'm still catching up from that. And so, you know, in theory, you want to do this at the beginning of the year, but this is if you're like me and you're just now coming up for air, and you're like I want 2024 to be my best year yet. This is a vehicle to help get you there. And so I think it's you in some level can control your destiny. You can live the life you want to live. But there's other level you also like sometimes it's out of your control. Like sometimes things you cannot control. But I am a believer in if I can stack the odds in my favor, if I can do things that are going to increase my chances of success, what does that look like? Can't control everything, but you can be proactive and mentally, emotionally, with your habits, with the things that you do, and stacking the odds in your favor. And so part of this is designed to do that. So this is essentially just a workbook, and I'm going to teach you everything in it. I'm not going to have time today to do that. Do it. What I would love to see you do. You may hear all this and be like, this is way too much work. I'm not into this type of thing, and that's totally cool too. However, if you're like, I'm in, game on, let's do that. I would love to have you individually put on your calendar, you know, a 2-hour chunk of time and go somewhere quiet and work on this. Or it could be like, I'm gonna work on this for like a month. I'm gonna work up 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. But it probably is not going to happen unless you intentionally take the time to do it. And that same sort of sentiment, I heard a speaker talk about a long time ago, is you have 2 types of people. You have folks who are thermometers. They read the temperature of the room. Here's where I am. You get people who are thermostats. They set the temperature of the room. And so the sentiment behind this is, and I fluctuate between both of those. Days where I'm, like I said, I'm coasting, and the days where I'm like, here, I have a plan, I have a vision, but you don't. No one wakes up, you know, one night and it's like, I'm really ripped. Like you don't wake up overnight and like I have everything. Like it takes planning. It takes you setting the course of your life and making decisions to do that. You don't wake up. You know, it doesn't happen on accident. It takes intentionality. And so the concept of this is as we think about 2024, and my hope for each of you, and my hope that you want for yourself is that 2024 is going to be one of my best years yet. I want tomorrow to be better than yesterday. So I'm gonna go through this and just teach you what's in it, and hopefully this is a helpful tool for you. I would love for you to schedule some time with yourself. And then the other thing too is I'm a believer that you want to have people in your corner who are rooting for you. Not everybody's rooting for you. Even sometimes like your spouse, like, here's my goals, and they're like not in the place. And but I would encourage you to, like, if it's someone in here, like at 6th Ave, you want to get people that root for each other. If someone here that you want an accountability person, if you want someone just to share it with, you want to cheerlead each other on. And so I think it'd be neat, a month from now, to share some of what you learned, some of my goals, here's something I'm working on. In this, we want to be a group of people that do that. So this is a workbook. It's made to be done on your phone, and hopefully it's helpful. So, Bell County folks, we'll mail you a copy of this. Let's see. So I'm not going to read this verbatim, but I'm going to kind of high level explain some of this. So every day we make choices that shape who we are and who we are becoming. And so the point of this is to think about some of those choices, to reflect. Also, change doesn't happen without self-reflection. Doesn't happen without thinking, how are things going? Asking yourself some hard questions. So part of this is designed to force you to ask, to force you to reflect, to force you to think, force you to sit and to come to potentially stack the odds in your favor, to kind of create self-fulfilling prophecies. So there's several exercises in here, and these exercises are designed to go in order. And this first exercise is what's called 7 layers deep. The most effective way to change your habits is to focus on not what you want to achieve, but who you wish to become. And it's really, this is designed to help you articulate your why. What's the root behind the root? So if we scroll down, basically the idea, everyone in here wants to become successful. You would not be in this room, in this meeting, if you didn't want to become more successful. So real estate agent, if you want to make more money for your family, if you didn't want to provide for yourself, if you didn't want more. Folks that are here showing up, taking the time out of the day are like, I'm in. I want to get better at this. And so every single one of us, this initial question is, what is important to you about becoming successful? And so there's a filled out example here, but the idea is like root causes, the thing behind the thing, motivate us. When you get to the core of it, when you get to the core of it, like there's a motivating power behind like asking yourself why. Why do I want to work out? Why do I want to brush my teeth? Why do I want to show up at this meeting? And so here's an example. Why is becoming successful important to you? So I want to make more money. So the question is to ask yourself why to the previous thing. Why do you want to make more money? Because I want to get out of debt. Well, why do you want to get out of debt? Stop working so hard to pay someone else. Level 4. Why is that important? Why is it so important to you to stop working so hard to pay someone else? Because I want to do things in my life with the fruits of my labor. Why is that important? Take care of my mother, who is widowed and needs help. Why is that important to you? Because she sacrificed everything for me. Why is that important? Because I want to be in control of my life. So, anyways, this is just the hypothetical examples. But the first thing I want you to do before you start planning, before we start dreaming, before we start tweaking, is to ask yourself why. What's your motivation? Because if you can't articulate that, if you can't identify that, you're probably not gonna do the next pieces. So this first little exercise is just going deep. Why do I do? Sometimes we know that, and sometimes we just need to remember it. Sometimes we also it changes. What's my motivation right now? Very different than it was 10 years ago. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like my girls, it's my kids, and it's my legacy. It's like, how do I want to show up and provide? So that's the first exercise on here. This next exercise is vision. So vision, there's mission, which is like, why do we do things? But vision is really, where are we going? We're thinking about the future. Thinking for the future. big picture. And so similar to this idea of a thermostat versus a thermometer or riding a river, like fate is a terrible rider. And so the idea is to create sort of a big picture vision of like, what do I want the future to look like? And so I have an exercise here, and we do this with our companies. It was 6th Avenue, we have a 1, 3, 5, 10-year vision. And I have it personally. But I want you to create a vision plan of what is your life look like. So I've broken this down into a couple different categories. Personal, like who do you want to be personally? Like family, that could be life, be in a house. It could be I want to own a second home. It could be, I want people to, I don't know, whatever it is. There's professional, who and where do you want to be in your career? There's also a financial vision. Again, in order to get where you want to go, it really helps to have a plan. And so, like financially, what does that look like?
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm leaving the office now. So.
Is there a health vision? Like what does that look like? I think health is a big part of this. Like 10 years, what do I want to look like? And so this is broken down into 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. And so this exercise is really simple. It's just taking the time of like a year from now, personal life, in my family life, with my spouse, with my kids, with my boyfriend, with my dog, whatever it is. What does that need to look like? And then really being able to dream, okay, 5 years from now, like what's like wave a magic wand. And here it's okay to wave a magic wand. Sometimes we don't want to wave a magic wand because we've been burned waving magic wands and it hasn't come true and it's discouraging, but like you gotta dream a little bit. Has anybody seen the new Willy Wonka movie? Yes. It's so good. One of my like favorite quotes in it. Every good thing in this world started as a dream. Isn't that so cool? It's like literally everything, the iPhone, every good thing, technology, started at some point as a dream. So the idea here is just to drink a little. So I have done this, and I actually make every single year. I kind of make these cheesy little cards, which I'll explain more. Well, you don't have to do this, but I have a 6-month, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10-year vision, and I print out like 20 of these, and I stick them everywhere. I have them in my Bible, I have them at my desk, I have them on my nightstand table. And so it's just a reminder when I feel like beat down and discouraged, or things go wrong, or things go hard, or I'm like, kids are driving me crazy, or like here's where I'm going. Like you can't set a course if you don't have a vision for where you're going. So
Do you have a little template for that?
I can. I mean, literally.
I have a poster and it's really cheesy, but I leave it up and it has all my stuff on it. I'm very visionary.
Yeah.
And I have to look at it all the time to remember, oh yeah, I was going to do that.
Yeah.
But
You
I
can
like that.
make something on Canva. I literally just was like, I wanted to see it. Because the other problem is, like, the reason we do our core values over and over and over again, our core values, is because you forget them.
Yeah.
And so, in sort of those dark moments of the soul, there's a lot of quiet moments where I'm like, discouraged or beat down, and I'm like, this is just a reminder. So, I want you to first ask yourself why. That's what that 7-layer deep thing is, and then set a vision of who do I want to be personally, who do I want to be professionally, where do I want to be financially, where do I want to be from a health coach. This next section is clarify. To become high performers, we need clarity and the ability to identify who we are and what we want. Clarity is something that rarely emerges on its own. It requires reflection and experimentation as we search for the values that matter to us and the goals that we're looking at. So this next section is really, there's a bunch of random things in it. And the idea is just to kind of start getting the juices flowing emotionally. What like emotionally and morally, who do we want to be? How do we want to show up? How do we want to feel? What's the type of person I am? So we're going to get into goal setting. We're going to get into specifics there later. But this next section, clarify, is really kind of like to help you dream a little bit, and then just a little more self-reflection. And this is much more touchy-feely / morally, ethically, like what does that mean? So clarify. 3 words that describe my best self. So this isn't describe yourself. This is my best self. When I'm showing up at my best, when I am who I want to be, when I'm the type of dad I want to be or the husband I want to be, what does that look like? Some ideas for how I can embody these words more often. So words are powerful. The words we speak have power when we write words down, where it goes from our lips to our fingertips. I think it's some magic that happens in that. So what are some words? Who do you want to be? Social. 3 words that could define how I want to treat others are. Who do you want to be to your friends? Who do you want to be to your family? Who do you want to be to the people that you work with? Some people in my life whom I could improve my interactions with. Skills. 5 skills I'm trying to develop most in my life right now. That could just be listening. That could be empathy. That could be piano. That could be that could be a lot of different things. Are there any skills that you want to practice? The way I can learn to practice those skills include, me personally, one of my skills I'm trying to work on is just being present. It's really, I am someone who's not present. I'm always thinking about the next thing, my work. Just want to sit, pay attention to my kids, and not be thinking about the next thing. 3 simple ways I can add value to those values. This is service. How can I serve? How can I love better? Something I can do with real focus and excellence to help someone else is, again, part of our mission statement is we want to grow. We also want to give back. And so there are opportunities here that you can serve those around you, serve people. Focus on the feeling. The main feelings I want to cultivate in my life, relationships, work. I also think, so often we're at the mercy of our feelings. I feel angry, I feel tired, I feel depressed, I feel lonely, I feel apathetic, I feel frustrated. And you can control your feelings. I'm not saying feelings are valid, feelings hit you, but then we have the ability to pause and reflect and think, how do I want to feel? And I have days I'm like, I'm showing up, going home from work, I'm just exhausted. That's not how I want to show up to my kids. You won't show up that way unless you think about it and articulate it. So these are just like feelings that you want to feel. Which I know that feels fluffy. This is all fluffy.
This is just about a life on purpose.
Yeah.
Rather than default. Because we default our way through so much.
And we tend to.
I mean,
But it doesn't stop unless you
that's right.
pause. Define what's meaningful. Something I can do or create to bring more meaning in my life is. Additional questions to ask yourself. How long do you want to have lived by the time you pass? Do you think about your death? That's kind of morbid. One of my favorite theologians is a guy named Jonathan Edwards, who was like a 17th century Harvard. He's one of the founders of Harvard, famous theologian. He had these sort of daily things he did, and one of them was to think about your death daily. It sounds morbid, but it puts things into perspective.
You don't take things for granted.
You don't make things for granted. How many more years do you have left if you live as long as you hope to? What individuals in your life do you want to show a lifetime of love and devotion to? Is there a big vision you want to accomplish before you pass? If so, what is it? What do you want people to feel on the day they find out you were gone? Yeah. Kind of morbid, but it puts things into perspective. What are you willing to sacrifice to get what you want? And why should people care? So, and you may also, we may also say, I'm going to do one of these things a day. I'm going to do one a week. So you don't have to do it all at once, but the idea is just, sit with some time with ourselves, which we have a hard time doing. Put down your phone. We're so inundated with noise and phones and things going on. And especially if you've got kids, all that stuff. Okay, so this next section is a thing called daily declarations, and this is probably one of the cheesiest things in here, but also probably my favorite. And so we all have an inner voice, that little voice in our head that can be our friend, or it can be our foe, depending on how we interact with it. Allowing our inner voice to control us can lead to detrimental spiral of self-doubt and negative thinking. However, research indicates that self-talk in a specific way promotes self-distancing, which helps us perform better, display less stress, blah, 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 blah. What we think, what this voice tells us, determines often how we ask. And so, I am a fan of writing affirmations, of writing declarations, of writing who I want to believe I am, who I think I can be, because our default is not. We're often our own worst critic. And so this next exercise is to write declarations. I'm going to read you mine. I'll give you examples of mine. And when we write them, we're going to write them as if they are happening. And so we're not going to say future, I will go to New York, money will come. We're going to write as if it has already happened. And so on my little card that I have here, that I keep everywhere, is I have my vision, I have some habits I want to focus on, and then these are my declarations. And so I think this is a powerful thing because we are our own sabotager, and in the moments, like the reason we do core values is because we need to pump up that tire. And the reason I read my Bible is because I need to remember who I am. I need to remember my identity. I remember who I'm becoming. And so I'll read you mine in a second. But even like with my children, the biggest gift I can give them is just that they know truth, that they know who they are, that they know how I feel about them. So on the way to school every single day, you heard it. If you're in my car this morning, you would have heard him say it. I make them both say out loud, I am brave, I am smart, I am kind, I am beautiful, I am loved. God loves me, my dad loves me. I make them say that out loud. And so they don't even know what's happening now. But they mean what I mean to say. Because I think there's power in those moments where they don't feel beautiful, where they don't feel loved. It forces you to say that. So these are my declarations. Let me share my screen.
It puts us in the habit of combating the negative idea because those negative ideas are just going to flow into our brain. We didn't ask them to come there, they just do.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a predetermined plan, strategy of how we're going to respond to it.
Yeah, and when you feel that sort of dark nights, when you feel depressed, when you feel beat down, when you feel like a failure, because you're like we all fail, we all make giant mistakes. I was a jerk to my wife. When that happens, it's like you can either live in that or you can speak against that. And so, anyways, literally, you will find me some mornings where I'm like, I have to read this because I'm like, I don't want to go to bed. So these are mine. This is very personal. I'm like inviting you into my diary, so to speak. These are also very spiritual. Yours don't have to be like this, but these are mine. So just as an example, I know who I am. Like that's a huge one. I know who I am. This is who I am. I am loved, accepted, and adopted by God. I have freedom and confidence because of Jesus. I fear God more than any man. Totally more spiritual. I trust God more than whatever I'm up against. I have to say that a lot. This feels really overwhelming. I love my life and will lay down my life to serve her. I nurture, equip, and train, empower my children to love and know God. I grow stronger, smarter, and more selfless each day. I have courage and do hard things. Read that a lot. I do hard things. I rejoice in suffering because God works all things for my good. Pain is my friend. I am content. I have everything I want and everything I need. A lot of times I'm like scrolling on eBay or Amazon at night. And I'm like, God, I really want this thing. I'm content. I have everything I need. I have self-control. I choose joy. I'm going to choose joy. I create energy and bring energy into the room I'm in. I care about my health. Command my body and not at its mercy. I'm creative, innovative, and driven. I'm committed to habits that help me flourish. I'm curious about myself and others in the world around me. I wake up with purpose, direction, and meaning every day of my life. I'm present with whoever I'm with. I prioritize quality time with the people I love. I have enough time in my day because I schedule what is important and not emergency urgent. I'm a spiritual contributor, not a spiritual consumer. I shape culture, I'm an industry changer. I will leave this world different and better than I found it.
Okay, so I just want that.
I just share that with all
You
of us.
wrote it, but it's so good.
So I will also say, this is like 6 years of working on this.
Okay, so why wouldn't you share that with us?
I'm also like,
Don't make us get a script
Here,
here.
just hand it over.
I'm saying that because I also feel make it overwhelming. Like, holy crap, you wrote it. Like, this is literally like me writing one at a time and toying with and playing with them and like and hitting low points and like, what do I need to believe right now? So the other thing, just this is prescriptive, not descriptive, meaning I am not all these things most of the time, but this is
that's a good word.
who I want to be. So
I was gonna ask if I could take a picture.
Yeah, I'll email. I'll email it to everybody. So going back, so this exercise is building out your own. Happy to share mine. You can also Google like affirmation, like you can find some other examples as well. These are just the ones I built. Again, yours should be personal. So I will read these. I try to look at them every day. I try to look at them at night. Sometimes I say them out loud. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I say them out loud, which I know sounds woo-woo and goofy. But again, if we want to set ourselves up like how we think is a huge goal. Do you have any questions, thoughts?
I mean, I used to use Post-it notes.
Yeah, that's great.
And when I was really working on a major change in my life, coming out of divorce and just the depths of despair and grasping hold of Jesus actually in that process and hoping for a better life. This is just over and over affirming. Post-it notes were on my driving dashboard, on my steering wheel, on my mirror.
Yeah.
Everywhere, you
Yeah.
know, just to make me think different. You can rewire your mind.
Yeah, and life is hard, and you
It's hard.
gotta come back to the heart of this. So my encouragement to you guys is don't overthink it. Don't think it has to be this perfect thing. It's on a note card. It's like years of me working on those. And also, that's why there's so many. Dreaming. We talked a little bit about dreaming a second ago, but this next little section is before we get into sort of like specific goals. Is again just to sort of like prime the pump and just get you thinking and dreaming, have a little fun a little bit. So, so a few dreams to become reality, new things to try, and that could be, you know, this could also be like the idea of these dreaming ones. These are like smaller picture. So we're gonna get into sort of like bigger, more specific goals in a second. New things to try. On my list was like, I'm gonna try. I bought a sous vide. I don't know what that is.
Yes.
Anyways, that's one of my 2024 things. So got that at Christmas. And I'm trying to sous
My
vide.
best friend does too.
So not all of these are like, you know,
Everybody needs a sous vide
Yeah.
friend in their life.
not everything is like earth shattering. So maybe like, I want to learn pottery. I don't know. Plans for the future. I'm inspired by books to read. Currently reading Lonesome Dove. Not a business book. It's not a leadership book. It's not like it's like I just always wanted to. It's been on my to-do list for a long time. So I'm reading it this year. Places to go. That's a fun thing to think about. You know, is there one place you want to go this year? Or, you know, are you going to commit? My wife and I have been talking about going to Italy for like 5 years. It's always been, this is our next trip. We're going to try to do it this year. And it's been on my list for a long time. I'm most excited about right now. What do you want to learn more about? A hobby I want to try. 3 people I want to become better friends with. What are the next 5 great adventures I'm going to take with my spouse or friend? The next 5 great adventures I'm going to take with my family. Is there a new skill I want to learn or grow in? Where do I want to travel? How can I be a better spouse or friend? Are there things in your life that you need to start saying yes to? Are there things you start saying no to? Who do you admire? Why? Is there a dream purchase? Or something you really want to buy? Boots, jacket. What does best look like? So these are all kind of, you know, smaller pictures. The idea is just to dream a little bit, have a little fun. Just these are kind of like micro goals, so to speak. This next section is specific goals. So setting goals can be a powerful way to stay motivated. When we create a specific goal that resonates with our hearts and souls, it becomes more than just a dream, it becomes real and achievable. Specificity matters. If you just say, I want to lose weight, it's very vague. But when you say, you know, I want to lose 10 pounds, you know, in 6 months, or I want to get stronger, I want to be able to bench press 225 by this, like when we add specificity or you know, I want to have closed 12 deals in 3 months versus like I just want to close more deals this year. It's like it's a very when we have a very vague goal, it's more of just a thought or a dream. When we add specificity to it, it really becomes a goal. I also think there's power in writing something down. Huge difference. I really want to you know, close 10 deals in 6 months when we write it down versus I want to close more deals this year. I want to make more. So this is my exercise in creating specific goals. So back here, these are kind of just dreaming and getting the juices flowing. The idea here is we're going to create up to, it could just be cover goals, a few specific goals. And so this is my format for how I do my goals. And I've tweaked this over the years, but I found it to be helpful. So first, I had a couple categories up here. And so the categories could be a spiritual goal. I want to read my Bible. I want to start going to church. I want to join a small group. Could be a social goal. I want to make more friends. I'm going to join this club. I want to join a volleyball league. It could be a fitness goal. It could be an intellectual goal. I want to read X amount of books. I want to learn so-and-so. I want to get certified. I want to, finish school. A relational goal, a parenting goal, a financial goal, an emotional goal, a work goal. So I just put a few categories up there just to help you think about these things. I don't want all of these to be work. Probably you need money on it, but so motivation, just why does this matter? The end result is important to me because why? So again, we're asking ourselves why. Habits that would help me achieve my goal. So I love goals. One of the things I've learned even more is that I kind of like habits more than goals. Because habits are things, are micro choices you start to repeat that really change. Like once you hit the goal, you hit the goal, and then it's like sometimes we go default back. And so I'm a huge fan of like building habits, because habits, again, like if I'm going to set up my day for success, I'm going to increase the odds of like being who I want to be. So I'm going to start with habits. Because even like the school, I want to finish school, I want to get my degree. A big habit is like I'm going to read, learn 3 nights a week. It's like a habit to, I dedicate time to myself, or prospecting. Like there's generally some sort of habit that is going to help you achieve a fitness goal. We go to the gym 3 days a week. If it's a work goal, I'm going to make, post on social media 5 days a week. Whatever it is. But are there habits that will help you achieve your goals? There might be one habit, there might be a couple habits. Here, that's supposed to be something else. I just got that. Anyways. Actions. Are there any specific steps you need to achieve your goals? Like what are the actions? So school, I need to enroll in school. If it's, I want to take my kids on a trip to Disney World, it's like I'm going to book flights by this date. Is there like a specific steps? So if it's a financial goal, I'm going to close 20 deals. Like I'm going to sign up for 100 Days of Greatness. It's like what are the actions that need to go into that? And then there are milestones, because generally it's normally not like start, end. There's probably a few mile markers along the way. And can we set some dates on this? Any questions on any of this?
So good.
So my idea is just can we add specificity? Can we think about our habits, because our habits affect us probably the most of all of it? What are the actions we need to take? What do I need to do? And when do I need to do this? What is success along the way look like? I got overwhelmed yet with all this stuff. I know it's a lot. Your perfect week. So we all have a choice in life. We can live on purpose according to a plan we've set, or we can live by accident, reacting to the demands of others. The first approach is proactive. The second is reactive, which better suits us. The proactive approach requires us to take initiative and be accountable for our own lives. It's much easier to accomplish what matters when we're proactive. So this exercise, and I think Brian has probably had y'all do this at some point. It's like setting out your ideal week, setting out your normal week. If I need to redo this right now. I've done this multiple times, and I like drift away now. I'm like, have all these meetings, have all these things. It's chaotic. Meetings, like, but it's the idea of can I build out sort of my dream week, and so this is what it looks like. So it starts at 5 a.m. ends at 10 p.m. You don't need to go as granular as this can. But for me, it's like Mondays, I don't do meetings. Mondays is kind of like my catch-up time. I do like emails right here. And here I'm like, I always work on one of my big projects. Tuesday, my meetings day, so I have meetings here. Wednesday. So anyways, it's just thinking about, this isn't a calendar. This is if I could wave a magic on what should my week look like. I'm going to be the most productive, most efficient.
I'm going to align with the goals that I'm setting. And then what does that need to happen? If learning piano, one of my goals, you better put learning practice your piano somewhere on here. And so I'm a huge fan of like calendar dates with yourself. Just like I've said, y'all heard me say this before, but like great thing about real estate is you can do whatever you want. The bad thing about real estate is you can do whatever you want. And so it's like a sweet thing and a terrible thing. And so I'm a huge fan of like blocking your calendar to do things like that. So again, it says that you can't. Sometimes there's flex here, but it's just the idea of like I'm gonna be thoughtful about my week. I'm gonna set it. So the other things too, like when you have someone's like, "Can you do this right now?" And you're like, "Sorry, I have a commitment." Oh my God, I have a commitment. It's easier to say,
I can Friday at noon.
yeah.
But you'll know when you can.
Yeah. And even it's like, I want to be better friends.
It's okay, it's good.
To the Johnsons. It's like, I want to have lunch with a friend once a week. Put that on. But this is just thinking through your ideal week. This next little section goes in with that. It's daily rituals. So daily rituals and routines are similar. There's a series of tasks completed. However, daily rituals are kind of different in their intention. They're meaningful, internally motivated practices and routines. And so this idea, this exercise is basically if you could have the most productive day possible, one that sets you up to win, how would that day begin and how would it end? And so I like to think of this as like priming my day and then winding my day down. Because generally, like even now, like I'm now in the whirlwind of today. I have a bunch of meetings, a bunch of things to do. I have email to go back, and so if you can think about okay, if my dream day, I'm showing up, I feel rested, I feel healthy, I feel excited, I feel motivated. What does that look like? If I was to start that day, how would I start it? If I was to wind that day down, how would I wind it down? And the reason we focus on morning and night is because those are the easiest things to control. Once you get into the day, it's rock and roll. Sometimes you're like, I'm just in back to back to back. And so I think of this like if I can stack the odds in my favor, I can increase the likelihood that it will happen. Sometimes you're still gonna have a terrible day and some things will go wrong. If I can increase the odds that I'm gonna show up how I want to show up, what does that look like? And so it's basically kind of building out just a few rituals, a few things. So for me, 75% of the time my mornings look exactly the same. I wake up at 5:23, go downstairs and I drink this weird drink that I drink, and then I read my Bible for a little bit, and I journal for a little bit, and then I work out. And so I'll work out for about 30 minutes. Then after that, it's like game on, kids are up. But it's like if I do that, my chances of having a good day are much higher than the days that I hit the snooze button, than the days that I'm just kind of like that I just go. Like if it's like when I do that, I know I'm like increasing my odds of having the type of day I want to have. On the same time, when I go to sleep at night, I can either just lay in bed and check Instagram for a while and stay up too late, blah blah. But my ideal day is like get in bed, I put my phone in the bathroom. Keep it plugged in the bathroom. I put my phone in the bathroom, and I sit down, I read for about 10 minutes, I have a little bit of journal, or just reflect on the day. That's my ideal night. I'm winding down, I'm reflecting. So yours don't have to be like that, but again, if you think about it, I stack the day, stack things in my favor, what would that look like? So here we're kind of mapping out our week. Monday's my meeting day, Tuesday's my work on my business day, Wednesday and Thursday and Friday are my showings days, or email days, or just building out a calendar that's intentional that aligns with the goals. And this is just thinking about your routines and habits, your morning routines, your morning habits. So I don't always do this, but when I do, sure feel a lot better. Any questions or thoughts on those? Okay, this is now I'm going into like grind and land. This is like 100 days to greatness land. So you've thought a lot about, why do I want to do what I do? I've dreamed a little bit.
I'm creating declarations. I want to tweak how I talk to myself and think about myself and who I want to be. I'm mapping out my most productive week. And this is just a little exercise to think about, okay, what does prospecting look like? What does outbound work like? And y'all may already have this exercise, you may already do this exercise, you may have already done this. But it's just thinking about, okay, like how much, what's my goal for revenue this year? My 3-year goal for revenue? What's my 5-year goal for revenue? And this is just a way to sort of build out, okay, if my goal is 5 million in sales and the average sales price is 265,000, I need 19 transactions. And if I need 19 transactions, I know I need to at least have 19 times 4 appointments. And I need 76 appointments. If I need 76 appointments, you know, I know for every 1 appointment, I'm probably going to have to reach out to 35 people. And so it's backing into the context that I need, how people message and email, and the appointments I need to set. And so it's like I'm backing into sort of my revenue. So I know y'all do this and I'll talk about this.
It's a great example of it. It's a great way to look at it.
But this is just an example. 3. And then a little section for notes. If you want to dream, write a note. But that's it. So my hope with this was just it would get you thinking, you know, get you, you know, we want to see you succeed, you know, in life, not just in real estate. So this was just one, I selfishly did this for myself because I need this, you know, like structure to my dreaming, and 2, we thought it'd be a fun gift and exercise for you guys to have.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions or thoughts or feedback or?
Anybody online, do y'all have any thoughts, questions, anything that you'd like the clarifications or anything before we say goodbye?
Or excited? This got me. I'm excited about this piece.
I was just gonna say, Jamie, you totally
Okay,
missed your
well, I'm gonna go
call.
ahead and shut the meeting down. We can continue to talk here. That way I can put the video up. It'll be up on YouTube later tonight, probably. So Mariah, Megan, Ashley, Angela, thank y'all for joining us. I saw Mina, she was on there. Maria was on there. Thank you guys very much. Have a great one. See you soon.
Did Maria get with you, Brian, about MLS?